At 1,960 metres, this was my highest altitude wild camp by a country mile. It was also easily the best camp I've ever done. It felt like we had the whole Alps to ourselves, and for one night, it felt like the whole world stood still and I was locked in my own perfect pocket of time. If you ever asked me the question, why do you wild camp? This is why. This is my answer. This is why I wild camp. I'd only planned to do one wild camp this holiday, but the first was so incredible I knew I had to do another one. Drawn to greater heights, we jumped in the télécabine and headed up to 1,750 metres.
Oh, there's a little cabin. What's that for?
Ski hut.
Ski hut.
Alright, we've made it to the top as far as the cable car can go, so now it's just our feet taking us. Have to admit, I'm feeling pretty wiped out. We've only got 6 days here, so you just want to make the most of it. Don't really want to just spend one day resting up the legs, but it has mean we've had big days in the mountains every day, and if you saw my last video then we did a wild camp one of the nights as well, so not much sleep either. But as I say, it's just got to be done. You've got to make the most of it while you're here, and the amazing scenery, it kind of just gives you energy you don't think you had, so it's going to be absolutely fine. Just might have some sore legs and tired mind by the end of this, but a lot of happiness. I cannot get over this view. It's amazing. We're just starting to get above the tree line here, so there's still trees, but it's not dense forest, so you've got the exposed rock coming through. Glorious.
Once we started hiking, we didn't really have much of a plan. We just had a direction we wanted to head, which was up. This was my first time going wild camping without having an idea of a potential pitch in mind, so while I was unsure what the evening had in store for us, I was really excited. It felt like a real adventure, scrambling over rocks and heading off into the mountains for a night in the wild, just you, your backpack and your thoughts.
Just see my first marmot up here. They're so cool. I remember when I first saw them in Canada being surprised like how big they are, because my only experience before that of marmots was if you're British you might get this. There used to be a show where they would like dub over animals speaking, and one of the sketches they would do was like these two marmots called Alan and Steve. They would just shout one another's name. For some reason it was utterly hilarious. If you're not from Britain and you don't know it, you'll probably be thinking, what on earth is she talking about? But if you know, you know. You can search it up on YouTube. It'll all be there. But yeah, they're massive. I mean, I think the biggest rodent is capybara, and I'm pretty sure one of the ones I just saw now is definitely rivaling it. In this national park, you can also see they reintroduce wolves, lynx, there's golden eagles, the marmots, there's chamois, which is their mountain goat. They're small little goats and they have beautiful facial tribal patterns on them, and they also have the ibex, which is like a mountain goat but on steroids. They're a lot bigger, and they're the ones with the massive horns that come out and curl. I saw them last time. They were awesome. Hope to see them this time.
An hour into the hike, and the further we got from the télécabine, the more remote the landscape began to feel. There were no signs of humans except for the odd trail marker, and the steep faces of the sheer mountain drop-off loomed constantly in the distance. Buzzards circled overhead, their screeching calls echoing through the rocky valley, and I found myself slipping into a state of true immersion that I only get when away from society and in nature. It makes me start to notice the little things, the purple alpine flowers, the fluffy seeds waiting to disperse in the wind, vegetation growing out of the smallest cracks in the rocks. Time begins to slow, and the peace begins to creep in.
I was beginning to get a bit worried we won't find a spot because it's really rocky, and it was probably like 50-50 rock to grass, but you know, it's not in patches of rock and patches of grass, it's like in striations. But we just behind me found one potential spot, so we're going to walk on up a bit higher, but we can always come back here. That's really reassuring to know. Also, marmots, have you seen them? How cool are they? Really cool is the answer. Really, really cool. Okay, we found our spot. It's got a bit windy up here now, so we've kind of come in a slight depression and sheltered behind a rock, so hopefully that'll protect us a little bit. I just looked up on the cliff face and there's a marmot just sitting there kind of staring down at me, surveying his territory, which I'm clearly in. Hopefully he doesn't mind me being a neighbour just for one night.
This is the spot. Up there are two marmots, our neighbours for the night. Some lovely mountain views. We pitched on an area of flat grassy ground at the Pas de l'Oie at an altitude of 1,960 metres. Everywhere you looked, you could see the dramatic ridgeline stretching out into the blue sky. The vertical cliffs plummeted straight down around 1,500 metres, which gave me vertigo just thinking about it. Needless to say, we stayed well away from the edge and marvelled at the view from afar as the wind ran up the cliffs and into our faces.
Tent set up, now it's time for dinner. We've got some hummus, cheese and tomato sandwiches. We're going to go sit up in the sun, get the last bit of warmth, and then just an evening of reading, taking in the views, maybe some stargazing later. Depends. I think that it's meant to be a full moon tonight, so it might be less chance of the full brightness of the stars, but still, we're up in the mountains and there's a lot less light pollution than normal, so it could be pretty spectacular. And there's no one up here. I mean, unless you're willing to do a really long, tough, actually quite dangerous climb, you wouldn't be up here now because the télécabine, the ride up and down, was closed at 5 and it's now 8. So just us and the mountains. Amazing. Couldn't think of anywhere else I would rather be right now. You know when you're in a moment and it's just so perfect, like there's nothing you take away from it, there's nothing you'd add from it that can make it better. And I'm so painfully aware that I'm in a moment right now that I'll look back on with such strong nostalgia and love. I can't explain it to you. This has just been a dreamy evening. It's like, this is why I wild camp. This is why I wanted a wild camp. Because occasionally, moments like this are crafted. And they're not moments you forget.
The rest of the evening that followed had a real magical quality and atmosphere to it that I can't quite put into words. I wish you could have experienced it too, but I'll leave you with the next best thing that I can offer, and just let you be alone in that moment with the mountains. Perhaps some of that magic might just spill through.
It's cold this morning. I just got out of the tent and I saw a chamois, just one lone one, walking along the edge of the steep ridge, which was really exciting because although I know that in the national park I was told that they're not really seen up on this particular valley. So yeah, that was really special to come out and wake up to. I think they're quite shy. So it makes sense that normal hikers in the daytime when it's busier wouldn't see them, but for me getting up early, just before sunrise, that's probably why I saw it. A treat. Can you see the very first touches of light coming up on the rock face?
As the sun slowly rose, I couldn't help but think that it is this kind of experience that makes me ache for the mountains and the freedom of it all. Perhaps you have had similar thoughts yourself. I doubt I am alone in that. Us lovers of the wild are all kindred spirits. I used to think that it was the mountains that taught me the important lessons I seem to uncover when out in the world. Lessons like the value of the outdoors for our mental health and happiness, and the way it puts your life and its issues into perspective, showing you what's truly important and what's just white noise. But upon reflection, I now think that it is us that teaches ourselves these lessons. The truth is buried in our subconscious, and the mountains instead play the role of giving us the headspace to hear them. They are so spectacular, there is no room in your head for anything but awe, peace, wonder, truth. Gone are the thoughts of work, problems that suddenly seem meaningless, getting caught up in repetitive tasks, the daily, weekly, monthly ones, advertisements, people's opinions, society. When in the mountains, they strip all that away and just leave you with yourself. It clears your mind of all the dirt and leaves room for you to see clearly. And what I always see is how ridiculous, how fast-paced, how pointless and monotonous most of my life is. And it shows me how it is these moments, when I feel awe and wonder and peace, that these are the moments I should be seeking. I can only imagine what kind of person I would be if I did this regularly. I think it would change me for the better. We already know the truths within us. We can be our own teachers. So I guess that makes the mountains our guides.
I know I said it last night, but that whole night and morning, this is why I wanted to start wild camping, because I thought moments like this were out there for grabs, and it was there last night. Sometimes just things align up. I had no expectations, and often that's when the best nights happen, isn't it? It was magical, no other words. If you're debating whether to try wild camping, you gotta do it. Look what's on offer for you. It's absolutely incredible. Next week I'm in mountains, but in a very different climate. I'm going to the Glencoe Valley, so hopefully see you next time and we can explore that together. But until then, as always, genuinely thank you so much for watching and for coming on this adventure with me. It was really special to be able to share it with you. Okay, bye.